We're live, Rocco. All right, happy Friday, everyone. It is Friday, just said that, September 13th, 2024. What a jump today in the markets. We'll get through it all and the week. Excited for this one. Some interesting charts to look at. It is parent-teacher night tonight, back to school. Nice. Your kid's not throwing people down to the ground. What else is your update, right? Okay, so let's get into this today. Below average volume day today. Let's see some stuff we were right on, some we weren't. As usual, I'm just going to start prefacing the show like that. But let's do a little screen share and talk about what happened today and why. Well, at least get into what happened, right? So today, retail, all the action, or a lot of the action today was in retail. You had some big moves. Restoration hardware, I saw up 25%. Etsy as well, if you count that as retail. A lot of parts of that market were up big today, among Abercrombie and Fitch, and that had a up 4% or so day. Small caps, huge day for the Russell, up 2.5%. And the home builders, we've been talking about it. We'll see if we missed our entry. If you paid up today, you got in, but I'm going to play the seasonality and wait a little bit. We'll see if it comes back to bite me, but still have it on my sheet. Buy ITB on or around September the 12th, and that was yesterday, so we'll see. Like I said, I'm going to use the seasonality, but let's get and a couple of new all-time highs. Utilities, new all-time highs. Gold, new all-time highs. Very impressive. And the miners, the juniors at least, I think the bigs, GDX as well as GDXJ, are hitting 52-week highs. And the best trades of this week, this full week now, was long the miners, short volatility, and long Bitcoin. So if you're waiting for Bitcoin to come along, it finally had a great week, up about 12 up to 13%. And it's nearing 59, 60K as we speak. So first, let us go back to the charts. Let me pull up the SPY intraday, because it was an interesting day. I'll show you what I mean. Boopity, boopity, bop. Which, of course, is a finance chart. All right, so right here at 9:30 is the open. Orange line there is volume-weighted average price. Very important. We hit our highs there at 130, and then some weakness right here. I don't know if it's, folks don't want to be long into the weekend, risk or anything like that, considering we're less than $3, less than 1% away from new all-time highs. Absolutely incredible. But we did break under view up at 2 o'clock, and you saw we trended beneath it. And then we recovered at 3 o'clock. And then there actually was, it's very thin trading today. So I'll take that as good faith that we did close above view up. So an impressive day and recovery somewhat, but it was really where the Russell was. And we'll look at that chart. So I'm not going to get, deep into that right this second. But first, as we always start out with the S&P larger picture. So in terms of, like I said, a lot and this week, as well as when the webinars, do a lot of work on 15-day cycles. I'm going to mark the low for SPY September the 10th, meaning I'm expecting no longer a distribution phase, but instead an accumulation phase through, on, or around September 25th to September 28th in terms of bullishness. What's impressive about this recent, 3 sessions, so this Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, this Wednesday when we dipped to 540 and now we're at 562. I don't think many people would have predicted that. Just a little background on the technicals, or just some numbers at you. 552 is the 21-day exponential moving average. I thought we were going to obviously get over that, but what I thought was going to have a little bit more of a hesitancy was getting above 555, 556. And it's done that very nicely, and now it's holding. We'll see what happens. My near-term forecast is we oscillate around 552 and try to make a break towards new all-time highs. I'm not so sure it does it, but you have interesting things happening in the market. We'll look at where the strength lies. It's very possible, though. Market obviously doesn't have to do anything I tell it. In terms of volatility and adjusted expectations, I would say, in my typical fashion, I would say this is at 570 to 575 in 2 to 3 weeks, which would be new all-time highs. We'll see. Also, you have very interesting action here from July 16th with the highs at 565.16, and look at the levels here, and then you tease with it through the middle to end of August, and now we're trying to break through. If it does, you're going to have people that don't want to be on the sidelines, and that can have you a little bit of a jut up. So it's kind of the seasonality, very important, scariest part of the market. These next 4 weeks, calculated literally in a quantitative sense, it's the worst returning 4 weeks. So not a great time to buy, and you're up against resistance. So we'll see. So my safe calls, we oscillate right around this 552 level, which is the 21 EMA. It's rising, so 552 to 555 is where I see us with a emphasis more to the upside. We are in an accumulation phase, I would say, for about the next 12 to 15 days or so. All right, now let's get to the tickers that matter today. We highlighted this last week. Retail, a huge move today, the biggest in the market on a risk-adjusted base, up 2.9%, massive. It just peaked above its 200 moving average. Again, looking at the power of the 200 moving average, always like to start the counter right here. I said, the clock is on for retail, September 6th. I give it to October the 6th. It did 3 days. That's what you want to see from your star performers. It's it's kind of like LeBron having a single point game. He does it like once every 10 years. Actually, I don't think he's done it in like 15 years. But it's kind of like that when you have a performer have a crazy outlier event, and then it's right back to its ways the following week. We all have bad weeks, okay? So the same thing for retail. Its highs made back in May. My near-term forecast is I think this is going to have a little bit of a hard time right around 76 quarter. If it has that thrust like the market does, then the next target would be 79. So right around here, and that would be just inside of the 52-week highs. All right, so that's my call on XRT. XLU is the next one, a big mover today to retail, new all-time highs for utilities. So impressive, and this is tied with golds, and then we'll get into the gold move. So this is it's crazy. Whenever utilities, pretty safe assets, not supposed to really zoom to the upside. Nvidia, but it's having these large pieces, chunks of time of being overbought. So pretty impressive. Something you want to be on. Look at that slope. I don't care what it is. You want to be long that. All that being said, this gets a little bit rich, even with vol expansion around $78. So I don't think this is going to go to the sky. It probably has more bullishness ahead of it, but with a lid, on it at around $78. Okay, next calf. This is somewhat pretty correlated to the small caps, but this is the one that registered a multiple sigma mover. It's much higher than IWM, which is why I'm highlighting it now. But it's very closely tied to Russell. As you can see here, it's a small cap cash cows. So this is interesting. Immediately when I look at the chart, besides seeing the big 3% run today, and it got a little bit, not technically speaking, but it got a little oversold here, spent quite some time under 50 RSI, but it has been known to do that as it spent in August. But what I'm looking at here is, again, the same counter thing, how much it closes under the 200-day moving average. And when I start my counter, something that also stands out to me is 200-day is rising, but very, very flat. It is stuck at 46.22, shows me momentum is slowing a bit, and there's resistance overhead. But let's see when we started the counter. Most recently, this I forgive because it recovered, so I forgive the whole thing. And then it began to close underneath the 200 moving average right there, September 3rd. I give this specific small cap, so I'd have to do it separately for IWM, though I think it might be the same results. I give this to October 3rd to the 10th to recover, although in the fashion that it's doing right now, 3 candles, it got the distance. And if you got some bullishness, I think it's going to recover this 46.22. I think it'll have I think it'll get 2 there, to be frank. I think it's a 46.22, and then we'll see if the counter continues or not. That's going to be interesting. Or does it push forward and get all the way to 47, which will then erase this and give it more lifeline. We'll see. Very interesting, though. I'll definitely be looking at small caps. I think it breaks it, and we'll say. It's very going to be interesting. Over time, it's going to beat it, I'm pretty sure, just to the positive drift of many assets here in the everything rally, as it were. But in the near term, 2 to 3 weeks, it's going to hit either 46 or 47, then start to oscillate again around that 45 level where we are currently. Homebuilders, let's take a look at this. The one I actually wanted to buy is ITB Home Construction, but it trades very, very similar to Homebuilders. Homebuilders had a more of a risk-adjusted move today. Let's take a look at the charts. So it's at the top band. It is squeaking, trying to get to its 52-week high, which is 121. It's at 119.5 now. This is clearly in accumulation mode, but I have a lid on this at right around 120, 120.5. So I think it stays inside the 52-week highs. But look at this momentum here, shown by the rising 200-day moving average. Hasn't spent any time, really considerably, under the 50 RSI. since that really not great week in early to mid-July. Great space to be in. I would wait for a pullback. Like I said, I'm trying to play the seasonality. I would love to get in equivalent this name instead of ITB. Let's say the price level would be around 113 to 114. It's not really being picky. It's where we were yesterday at the open, but a lot changes. So be careful, watch your spots. You're also seeing this breakthrough. Usually if you try and kick a door down 1, 2, the third time, you're probably going to do it. So let's see what happens here. But then you're going to have people like me and other traders and investors trying to chase this, and that could probably get you a bit higher with the vol expansion to 126 or something that explodes past normal calculated targets. But like I said, next 2 to 3 weeks, around 120, I think, for this one. Trees don't go to the sky, and this just did a massive move from 110 to 120 in 2 days. So come on. Next one, it's Fizz that made a new all-time high, but I'll just skip and go right to GLD because they had very similar moves. The gold here was up 1. Fizz was what registered on my through my brokerage account or through my data provider. Let me see this. I mean, is there enough history? There is. So we'll just go to Fizz. This is gold. Okay, so new all-time highs. Again, I'm a little bit of a disciplined nerd. I would go to the multiple sigma moves in the ETFs, so they all fulfill my liquidity filters. There's a reason why those are moving, so I just go to what's there. So this is a crazy move. This is gold. A little bit of, I can't say it's fear because volatility was actually down today, but they are pursuing gold. It could be a dollar move. Obviously, you saw a lot of bonds hit 52-week highs. Almost every 52 bond ETF hit 52-week highs again. This has been a runaway train since this breakout in this specific ETF. Like I said, the July breakout for gold, and it has not looked back. So again, similar to what I just said about Homebuilders, this is an accumulation mode, but I have a ceiling of this right where we currently lie at $20. So, equivalent to where we are in gold, just, I think for the next 1 to 2 weeks, still bullishness, but with the choppiness back and forth, probably some downside down to about 19.5, and then we'll recoup that 20 level. All right, so those were the big movers today. Retail, utilities to an all-time high, small caps, home builders, and gold to an all-time high. Down was absolutely nothing. There was absolutely nothing down today in a multiple sigma move. Top 5 gainers the past 5 days, no repeats in charts. So GDXJ, the best trade of the week, up 15% in the past week. Absolutely extraordinary. We talked about this last week and last month. We've been highlighting because it's been a big mover. New 52-week high today, as noted there through that green carrot. Green carrot sounds like when I cook. I'm a pretty good cook. I don't make carrots bad like that. Just bad jokes. Wait, Rocco? He sighed. All right, so here, accumulation mode. Again, so the market did a little bit. What I'm getting, again, I don't have a bias when I go into these charts. I'm doing it live with you. But I just looked at 3 different charts, different areas, home builders, gold miners, and small caps. And they're kind of, I don't think it was small caps or retail, rather utilities. Doesn't matter. The point is, they're at their ceiling pretty much, even given a little bit of expansion. I don't know if we get the chase right now. So I have, again, this having to go to about a 49 target, which is where it is today. So we'll see. Very strong candles, though. Look at all these just soaring off of that. This was $43 on the 6th, just 1 week ago, and you're up to 49. So congrats if you bought around 45. That wasn't chasing. That was just good risk management entry, in my opinion. If you got in yesterday, that was just yesterday's candle. My gosh, at 45, we got to 49. That's a beautiful trade in just 2 sessions. So extraordinary. So GDXJ up 15% in just 5 days. Extraordinary. All right, almost just as much Bitcoin. So we were concerned about it. Let's take a look because it has, in my opinion, it's on borrowed time. So this is an accumulation mode. We talked about it was going to get a nice thrust soon, specifically for Bitso to about 1855 is where I see it at least going. That's the 21 EMA. So again, the 200-day moving average, my counter, my counter started for Bitcoin. Let's give you a clean run right there, July 30. So is when it began. I give this to August 30 to about September 7th. To me, my clock ran out on Bitcoin about last week. I have some new trading to do around it next week, to be frank. So I don't like this action. I like that the animal spirits of the overall market that I believe in will pull up this asset towards the end of the year, and it's the best performer over the past year, which is why I've still not liquidated. And I'll get to that at the end of the show, the best trades of the past year, which is why on that time frame I'm still looking at it. Similar to your boy, Jalen Hurts had a couple of picks in game one, right? And he had a lot of picks last year, but he's the best quarterback, most wins since 2022. It's about time frame. Bitcoin has still been an absolute winner, superstar from last September through today. But you got to trade the markets that's in front of you. That's what I'm going to have to, consider. I'll still give it a leash. But if you're a new trader, you don't have the position, it's lights out for this. It doesn't look good. And I think in terms of even with vol expansion, I don't see it on this next rally of the next 2 to 3 weeks getting past $20.75 to $21. So that's still a massive gain, another $3. But I don't know if new all-time highs are in the cards for Bitcoin. It looks much better for S&P and other much more beta-related instruments. All right, speaking of which, the most important chart in the market, semiconductors are your third best gainer. Everyone owns index, so everyone owns semiconductors, so everyone is a bit richer this week through this medium. Semiconductors up 10% this week, so an average of 2% today. That is absolutely stellar. This is in accumulation mode, and this has more to go. This is going to continue to go, so expect NVIDIA to rally, but a little bit of background, a little bit more about this. I think this is going to have a rough time around 253, 255, right around here. Again, these levels that we could not push at the end of August, levels that we have not been able to really with confidently put on since mid-July, I think is where we run out of steam. And again, that's probably going to put a little bit of a fear narrative into, is the semi-trades done, blah, blah, blah. I don't think so, because these are the second or top three best performer. Let me actually just check. Yeah, it's the second best performer after Bitcoin in the past 52 weeks. I'll give it leash, and you still have a rising 200-day moving average. Keep it simple, stupid. So this is not, and it's not even anywhere near any kind of a 200-day moving average test. So the trend is your friend, and I would expect gains in this area to about 253. So that is, 253, so that much gain in the next 2 weeks or so. But I would see a flutter towards tech. This isn't at resistance like the others were. Gold, I don't see much more, although it looks like there's so much left to it immediately here, but I think they're hitting their head. Same thing for Homebuilders. I'd rather pick my spots. But semiconductors, this is a little beat-up group coming in from mid to end of August. I think they have a little bit more to go. So congrats if you're in tech. All right, ARK. ARK had a great week, up 10%, just as much as the semis. So I know Tesla did some great things, which is a major hold of Kathy. This one has more to go. I thought it was going to take a little bit of at least a hiccup around 44.65, right around there. It went through it yesterday, no problem. It's a very strong rally off the bottom. Like I said, up 10% this week. Look at where it's trying to squeak to. 200-day moving average, a beautiful tag in mid-August twice. So let's, again, start our counter. When did this first close under the 200-day moving average? Right there, July 30th. So similar exact dating, actually, to what I gave the other asset we were talking about earlier. July 30th, my counter goes to August 30th, September 7th. I would have ran out here on ARK, and look what it did on around that day. This is the closest it got. Now it's trying to do it. Let's see. So I think this gets to about, I think this is going to spook people, or spook the calculation I have as what I'm saying. I think it actually does get to about here. I think it's about 47.5 or so. I think it doesn't eclipse these July highs, but I do think it gets to about almost similar in the way that semiconductors can't battle those mid to late July highs is where I see this running out of gas. But it would reset the timer for me in the world of 200 moving average, so it would be a consideration. I wouldn't just immediately short sell ARK. It would give it some more leash. And this 200 moving average is flat at 46. Now it's flat. It is down in the past month, but it's kind of a straight line here at 46.52. So I think it has a date with that, and then a little bit more. And then lastly, silver. They love the metals this week. Silver up 9.5%. Let's take a look at this. We were talking about this and saying that looks like a great breakout candidate. So similar, don't like buying this at this level. It is an accumulation mode, but again, with a ceiling on it right around here, around 28.05, 28 nickel, around there. Again, slightly lower highs in place for silver. Gold looking much better. The gold miners looking better. All right, top two losers of the past 5 days. I couldn't even find five. There are only two losers in the past 5 days, and one is contra market. Essentially, it's volatility. So we'll take a look at the volatility chart. VXX, here we go. All right, so this is in distribution mode. Of course, it's always inverse, essentially the market. So we're saying if the market is in accumulation mode through September 25th, almost immediately, I do it, manually. Essentially, I still do it on VXX alone, and it's still the same exact thing. So this is going to be distribution through September 25th, and in terms of the level, it's interesting because volatility has been raised, since that Japan crash event. But look at this, as you're starting the counter again. Okay, let's see how many days it can survive above the 200-day moving average. And it did it for about 1 day here on September 6th. So the 200-day moving average still declining by about 10 cents a day. It's marked right now at 53.75. I think this is going to hover around here. VXX looks like it's setting around 49. We've been hugging this level more so, give or take a couple percent since mid-August. So I would say we're in a slightly elevated slightly elevated environment instead of looking for just immediately new 52-week lows. But I do think this potentially, I'll take back what I said, actually. I'm bipolar today. I think this actually could, if the market gets new 52-week highs, this will also get new 52-week lows. They are struck at 39.98. So we'll see. But I think this is going to hover around 49, and then I wouldn't say crater, but it looks like it's at least going to get to 42, around there. All right, over the next 2 weeks or so. But it depends what happens with the market. All right, and then lastly, the only other loser I could find, China, down 2% this week. Only two areas of the market that didn't get love, and really it's just one. So China, the only place, down 2% this week. FXI had similar returns, but the A share is the one that got pretty ugly. And look at this. So, decent volume for 3 million shares. It's actually closing below the Bollinger Band. I have this on another screen as well with a different time frame. And that's pretty ugly. So it looks like when that happens, it's usually headed towards oversold, which really isn't a condition. It's registered since January. So all that being said, I do think it's a little bit oversold, not technically, although in my world I think it is. And I think the support at 22.65, it's a calculated support, should hold. So right around that 22.65 level should hold. I think you get a mean reversion bump to about 23, even 23.10 over the next 2 to 3 weeks. It's going to have a hard time, though. I think that's going to be as good as it gets. He had a massive rally today in lots of parts of the market. China got no love. All right. So again, top three absolute trades of the past 5 days. Gold miners up 15%. Short volatility down 13%. Long Bitcoin up 12.5%. We'll look again to see how it trades this weekend. And as I start to wrap up, like we do, the best three absolute trades of the past 52 weeks. You got GBTC. Let's take a look at the trend. Again, so struck here. This is the best trade of the past year, up 149%. So that's nothing to sneeze at. Most recent overall oversold environment was August 5th. So, just 5 weeks ago, it was oversold. And that is where we first started our counter, and then it reset. And now we are talking about right here with a clean break, August 28th. Interesting how we're saying a lot of different assets at that low around the August 28th to 30th. So right here, I started my counter on Bitcoin. Like I said, this is going to be very correlated with Bitto, and the counter is similar, right? It's so September 28th to, so the counter started August 28th. So I give this one, the GBTC, the best performer of the year measured through this, not the IBIT or anything else. This is it, specifically this asset, this security. I give it till September 28th. All right, so it's got about 2 weeks left. I think it can do it. I hope it can do it. And if not, then I will start to closely look at liquidating Bitcoin. I don't think it's going to happen, but we'll see. I have till September 28th to about October 3rd right there to say. But that is the best performer of the past year. Never short a superstar. I'm going to give it more credit that it's as it deserves. But major decision to be made, I would say, by everyone. Otherwise, you're going to start to see really not great momentum in this. Okay, you're going to start to see lows, 3-month lows, and before you know it, you're looking at 52-week lows. So the volatility could forgive it a little bit in Bitcoin because the 52-week low for this in GBTC is $18 and it's trading 48. But we'll see, probably more normal is like I said, a 1 year 50% Fibonacci retracement, maybe something like that. But we'll look at that later. Again, the first thing, more important thing is see where it is trading in about 2 to 3 weeks time. All right, second best trade of the entire marketplace. Again, no repeating charts. Is your semiconductors up 57%. You got to give these areas of the market the benefit of the doubt. They are your absolute stars, not only year to date, but going back a year. And then we will look at this because we didn't look at this specific chart, and it's the one that I missed out on. The IT Bizzle is what I wanted. And we'll close with this. Again, that's what I have on my sheet by ITB September 12th. So this is clear in accumulation mode, but with a ceiling of about 124.5. So I see very small upside for it. I'd even see that the August 26th 52-week high is 124.5. I did it through a calculated fashion through an Bollinger Band expansion. So that's where I basically see it happening. So I'm not really excited about buying it here. But again, we said last week, if you could buy this around 117, that's a gift. And it was basically, look at that, every single day for a week from September the 4th to the 10th. So you can't get them all. Unfortunately, I missed this one. Hopefully, like I said, I play the seasonality. And if this gets in anywhere on 117, 118, I will purchase it via call spread, I believe, with a target of 124. So it's one to keep an eye on again. All right, have an awesome weekend. I think it's the last really, really, really perfect summer weather weekend. And that is all. Enjoy it, and we will see you next time.